We'll now move to the government side for 7.5 minutes. MPP Smith.
Thank you very much, through you, Chair. I appreciated the conversation that continued, and I don't know, about a 10-minute walk from here, we've got the AGO, which features some incredible Indigenous arts, and the McMichael Gallery, which is probably about 30 clicks, depending upon what route you take in York Region, has a tremendous value of Indigenous art that's been featured there literally since I can remember. I frequent that location quite a bit, and I went to an incredible exhibit not too long ago that was mixed media. But I believe there's been, literally over 1,500 different presentations of different Indigenous artists through the years, and they have a vanguard of different programs, different artistic values through that medium, or through Indigenous artists or people who identify as Indigenous artists. And I truly value the different locations that we can visit all over Ontario that will provide this kind of view for the not only the artistic community, but to provide it to our future generations and our future artists. I should also point out that I've been very happy to attend Indigenous festivals and arts, because our government does support these programs. Through the Reconnect program, we've provided some very good funding that provides subsidies to Ontario's cultural attractions that includes Indigenous arts and tourism events and exhibitions that do continue on in Ontario, and that's with value. So I just wanted to get that information on record. I also wanted to talk about what MPP McCarthy thinks this will do for other Canadian artists, be it Indigenous or not Indigenous, what he believes this will bring for the future Group of Sevens.
Well, thank you, through you, Chair. As I've said, it's an entry point. The door is open perhaps because of the best-known national art movement, and then when one attends the galleries, one is introduced to all types of art forms and artistic traditions, including Indigenous. So it will actually indirectly create engagement for other artistic traditions, and that's a good thing. I can share with you my own experience. The Art Gallery of Ontario here in Toronto, steps from Queen's Park. I visited it as a student at the University of Toronto's St. George campus in my younger days. I visited it later after my wife Kathy and I were married with my in-laws. Then last year, as we began the 43rd Parliament, I was invited as a new MPP by Jay-Z, along with my wife, to visit the AGO.
Did you just say Jay-Z?
I may not be pronouncing it, J-A-E, surname X-I, okay, who's associated with the AGO. Okay. So we were invited to have a tour and enjoyed it very much. And of course, I went to see the Group of Seven works that I'm familiar with, but then I was introduced to so much more. So even for me, that was a refresher and an entry point and an opening to so much more. That's what it's about. And the engagement that results from that, the learning that results from that, has many, many positive ripple effects. That's what I'm talking about. And then that was August 2022 when I was re-engaged with the AGO. I take that back to my riding, and in my travels in Durham riding, I happened to meet for the first time one of my constituents from Port Perry, Lauren Walker, not the same spelling as Lauren Harris, L-A-U-R-E-N, Walker, and she writes, "Art is created by those who think outside the box," as I referenced earlier. "It reflects infinite freedom and possibility to those who dare to dream. A movement is created when like-minded people come together and challenge convention. The Group of Seven has that very impact, and we strive to honor their legacy here today. Their work sparks our imagination and inspires us to dream bigger and bolder. We must honor those who have created such an everlasting mark on our Canadian culture. In doing so, we can inspire other artists to pursue their creative goals. That Group of Seven showed us that the only path to follow is the one you create for yourself. Dare to dream," writes Lauren Walker.
I like that statement, daring to dream. So with that, I'm going to ask you, which is possibly my final question. I'm going to put you in a rocket ship, or I'm going to put you in a time capsule, and you're going to wake up, and it's going to be 100 years from now. Do you think we'll still know who the Group of Seven are at that time? And what do you think this bill will do for that?
Well, through you, Chair, to the member, thank you for the question from the member from Thornhill. In 100 and 200 years from now, there will be the Group of Seven that we knew beginning in 1920, and I believe there'll be many groups of seven, because that's what this can and will lead to, if passed, I believe, is the entry point, the opening of the door, the opening of the window, bringing in the ability to see and appreciate and celebrate different perspectives, different art forms. That is what is uniquely Canadian. So when we embrace the past and celebrate what the Group of Seven brought us, we, I think, create the opportunity for infinite numbers of new members of the Group of Seven who will bring a uniquely rich perspective to the celebration of art and culture in Ontario and Canada.
Thank you, Mr. McCarthy. Time?
You have a minute and 15 seconds if you wish.
I was going to actually ask you, I know you already described your favorite artist and the actual work, but what inspired you to bring this bill forward?
Well, through you, Chair, so many things. I mean, obviously, it's not right really to pick a favorite, but I did concede Tom Thompson. And my great-grandparents introduced us to Georgian Bay as a place to visit in the summer, cottage there. And so anything that reminds me of the iconic Georgian Bay landscapes always is something that I treasure in my heart. But there are just so many influences. What it really comes down to is just how well-known and accessible the Group of Seven art movement is to so many people who I know, and it's really, it belongs to the people. It belongs to the citizens. It's not some narrow elite group that's associated with it. And it expanded and continues to expand, and it inspires younger artists.
And they were controversial at the time as well, because they were using colors that did not necessarily depict the works that was being utilized. So they were avant-garde, would you say?
Through the chair, I would say that's true. They were progressive, avant-garde, and doing something that hadn't been done before.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Time is up. Thank you very much for your presentation.